Hey guys, welcome to my TSM versus Flyquest VOD review. TSM actually dropped the game to Flyquest this weekend, so a lot of people were wondering what the hell happened, and I got to interview Tony after the game, so he gave me good insight. So yeah, I wanted to review this one. As always, we'll start with the draft and we'll talk about what each team kind of does better. So let's start with the bans. Looks like TSM has pretty high prio on Lissandra and Irelia. They're banning and also picking Irelia. One thing I find odd is I think a lot of people think Irelia kind of sucks now, but TSM's still prioritizing it pretty highly. For Lissandra, I do understand a lot of it, and Jace, it seems like more of a targeted ban towards Viper. On Flyquest side, they're banning Cassio, Akali, Lucian. Cassio, a very typical ban. Akali, also a very typical ban. And Galio has fallen off a lot with Rakan being nerfed and people not playing Camille as much. So Lucian ban also I understand. One thing that was kind of weird for me is I understand that Lucian is a stronger champion, but Zven has shown a lot of proficiency on Israel, so I'd imagine that they would have actually target banned Israel instead of Lucian, but it seems like they rather banned the priority pick in Lucian. So Sagasaurus is GM of Flyquest asking what I want to say about this game. We'll see what I say, we'll see. Urgot first pick, very typical. I would have actually preferred the Aatrox first pick over Urgot, especially with Sion still up, but Urgot's still more than fine of a pick to first pick. As for Flyquest, first rotating Aatrox and Ornn. For Ornn, Flyquest loves early rotationing Ornn and giving it to JJ. It is a flex pick, but most of the time they just have it on. They just have JJ play it. Whenever I see Ornn for Flyquest, I'm thinking this is gonna go to JJ. For TSM, rounding out with Camille and Israel, their first rotation. As I said, Zven has very, very good proficiency on Israel. That's why they're picking it. And Turtle counter picks with Kai'Sa. So Swagasaurus, the GM, is telling me you should talk about the Lucian ban after you see the picks, and this is probably kind of why. So Israel is a very scaling champion. Things that he gets countered by are stuff like Kai'Sa and Vayne that can farm alongside the Israel and provide a much better late game. Why Israel is still able to be blinded is because even though Kai'Sa and Vayne can counter him by being a stronger backline and being more of a carry champion, Israel is still incredibly powerful mid game. One thing that you guys probably don't feel in solo queue that's very, very strong in competitive play is after the first few turrets go down and Israel goes mid with 1 or 2 items complete, the Q poke to get priority is really insane. We saw when Clutch played Israel versus TSM, that was one of the main ways that they were able to stay in the game, Israel constantly being able to poke out TSM. But yeah, that's why Israel is blinded a lot in competitive play, and that's why Israel's probably not that great in solo queue, because you can't really take use of the poke that well. And let's see some of the bans coming down. Flyquest banning Galio and Zilean. I mean, obviously TSM played a Zilean Camille comp to a lot of success earlier last week, and Galio also pairs very well with Camille. TSM banning out LeBlanc and Gragas. They know they have to blind pick their mid, so they're just trying to make their blind pick a little bit more comfortable, and Gragas ban is targeted towards Centauran for jungle. I don't understand it too much, but a lot of times you throw away bans in your later half anyways. So Flyquest opens with Kha'Zix first pick, or Kha'Zix first rotation and second round. Kha'Zix versus Camille, pretty much a skill matchup, but Kha'Zix will have a lot more potential to kill later, and TSM rounding out with Braum and Syndra. And Flyquest finishes with Zoe. So we'll look at both comps and its completion. Both are full-on teamfight comps. TSM doesn't really have a split pusher, and Flyquest will have a split pusher in Aatrox, but Aatrox is going to get stonewalled by Urgot pretty easily. Both teams, their win condition is going to come down to teamfight. So whoever's better in the teamfight status is going to be able to win this game really, really hard. So key interactions that we really, really have to watch out for is Ornn ult versus Braum ult. Braum shield. Whenever Ornn ults, Braum can shield backwards and destroy the Ornn ult completely, or let the Ornn ult pass by and then shield forward and block it and destroy Ornn ult completely. Braum is an incredibly good pick versus Ornn. I actually would have loved to seen Flyquest ban Braum instead of any of Galio or Zillion. I actually think it would have been a great ban, especially when they had Braum support already picked. What are some other cool interactions? I mean, that's pretty much it. I would say the really big point for this game is how well Pobelter is going to be able to survive as Zoe versus Camille and Syndra. Camille and Syndra are going to put a lot of pressure on the Zoe, and it's very important Pobelter doesn't get blown up. Once it gets to team fight, both team fighting is pretty even. I don't think there is like too much things to talk about. It's not like one team completely outscales the other team when it comes to team fight. Both teams have a lot of outplay tools, and both teams have strong team fights. Let's actually go into the game. God, I'm so over Urgot and Aatrox and Sion. I want to see Riot nerf the fuck out of Urgot, Aatrox, and Sion. These champions are just so good and competitive because they give you priority, and they're great in team fights, so they're just built for competitive, and they muscle out any of the other possible picks. Because Urgot and Sion and Aatrox exist in the current state in the game, it means it's very, very rare to see any other top laner, or very rare to see any other early pick. I just think the game would be much more exciting and fun to watch with these champs kind of pushed out. Speaking a little bit on Urgot's strengths, why Urgot is so strong is he's incredibly durable and incredibly strong laner. Urgot has all-in potential, Urgot has poke, Urgot can even wave clear pretty decently, he has everything. And not only that, oh, I'll talk about a little bit of what this is. So what Broken Blade is doing is he's freezing the wave, so you see how all the creeps are hitting this one. If Aatrox stays a long time to leash, then he's going to miss one CS. But Viper adapted to, oh, Broken Blade's freezing the wave, I can't give you a good leash, and I'm just going to have to walk quickly. Just a little bit of like small things happening in the game that you guys might not notice. Anyways, going back to Urgot, his laning is really great. His gank follow-ups also just insane. Being able to charge flash, it makes Urgot's gank follow-up very, very hard to deal with, because he can open the gank anytime whenever he wants to E-flash. So that's something that makes laning versus Urgot incredibly scary. Cadian going for early skirmish as Camille's stronger than Kha'Zix, especially at level 2. Camille's just an insanely strong champion early game due to how easily he can, or she can press the attack and how her passive works. Yeah, Acadian wants to do his best to pressure Centaurian in the jungle due to having priority from bot side, having priority from mid side. He has a lot of freedom to invade long as his team can follow up, and Smoothie able to follow up here. A little bit over eager on that one though, forced to burn flash. I think Acadian, so for this one, if Acadian waits just a little bit for Smoothie to come close there. Oh, he wanted to take the smite fight. Looks like Centaurian won the smite fight there. And then he was forced to burn flash. And then, but they're able to burn what is it, JJ flash and take the blue. Overall, good invade, but if they did it a little bit cleaner, oof, that blue buff reset feels bad, man. Overall, good invade, but if they did it a little bit more cleaner, it would have been much better. Now, Acadian needs to reset as soon as possible and get on the map. He can't stay and do rest of his camps just because he's ahead on the jungle, because Centaurian was able to back and buy his jungle item, so it's really important for Acadian to match the tempo of the jungle. Their tempo does exist in jungle too, not in laning, and it's very important you're matching the tempo of the other enemy jungle. Because even if you have more farm than the enemy jungle, if you're not able to recall in time and buy the actual items with the gold, it doesn't matter how much gold you have in the bank. If your gold isn't spent, it means nothing. Acadian's going to be able to build a decent lead because he only took some of his camp and he invaded onto Lucas, so the rest of his camps are up. Playing for scuttle control. When you're stronger, it's so important to keep playing for scuttle control and not give space for enemy jungler. I would love to see Acadian walk in here. Actually, never mind. Zben's recalling, so it's kind of awkward. He wants to do this invade, but Zben recalled, so he can't do this invade. They either have to think better or not do this at all. Yeah, he's just wasting time now. Because Zben recalled, you can't do that invade. You'd be outnumbered. Acadian either had to be like, hey Zben, you need to stay if we're going to get this golem, or be like, Zben's like, oh, I'm going to recall. Then Acadian just gives up on the invade and goes back to the jungle. Lucas is, or Centauran is recovering nicely, especially because he didn't get his Gromp invaded on, and he's going to be able to hit level 6 around the same time as Acadian. As a Kha'Zix, that's a really important thing, being able to hit level 6 along with Camille without getting interrupted too much. While early game was a little bit rough due to the early invade, Centauran was able to catch up a lot. Zoe down CS. I mean, that's just how Syndra Zoe lane works, especially with Camille having that much priority. Pobelter can never ever push out. Never ever. Anytime he wants to push out, it's just so disgustingly dangerous for him. Ooh, this 2v2 starting. Damn, that was actually really bad by Acadian. Let's actually take a look again. Because this 2v2 is something that TSM can win. And this early in the game, it's super important for them to play it properly. So he's drowsy here, right? Before he gets fully, what do you call it? Slept. If he ults Pope, and he forces Pope to get ulted, then Bjerg can chain a stun after, can chain his Q after, and actually put Pope in a really shitty spot. Because Pobelter doesn't have mana, and if they're just all-inning on Pobelter properly there, with Acadian ulting him, and like he has Red Smite, Pobelter should have actually died there. If I go rewatch it here, you're drowsy, just ult before you get all the way slept. Damn, they would have been able to burn a lot of stuns. He ults this, his Red Smite's coming up, Bjergsen's here with his stun and Q. Wow. This was actually a really free opportunity to pressure the Zoe. Oops. This one. Yeah. If Pobelter flashes under turret, he can't flash from here to all the way there. He can't flash under turret from that angle. Where Pobelter was located, he couldn't flash to under turret. Zoe has heal. I understand all that, but heal doesn't heal that much. And early game, like Syndra damage at this point in the game means so much. They don't lose the 2v2. I promise you guys, if Acadian able to ult the Zoe before the sleep procs, that's a very good spot for TSM to be in. We'll move on to the next point. For stuff like this, you guys just have to trust. Oh, this 2v2 is brutal. Oh wait, how did he live? Oh, because he has his ult. Alright, let's see how it started for a Broken Blade then. So, going on Aatrox, that's good. Going on Aatrox. Oh man. But they were able to just land so much damage. I think at a certain point, TSM had to realize, holy fuck, we're losing this 2v2. Or in the middle of 2v2 itself, Broken Blade uses Flash to dodge damage spell from Aatrox, but with the way they played it, Flyquest was going to crash. That was such good shadow by Centauran. I feel like Centauran never gets enough credit. Cause it was such a free kill for TSM if Centauran doesn't show up. And it's not like they were on wars either. Centauran just knew that Acadian was going to be able to be Acadian was going to be topside, and he matched it perfectly. Now, 30 CS lead on Bjerg. It's important TSM keeps fighting. Later on in the game, whenever Kai'Sa gets their double items complete, Rage Blade plus Storm Razor, Kai'Sa's that power spike for Kai'Sa, she's so strong in teamfight. TSM needs to create a lot of goal difference before that power spike comes for Flyquest. They did get an early Ocean Drake. Early Ocean Drake just means so much. It makes laning completely different whenever people get early Ocean Drake, and it's not like it only affects one lane. Early Ocean Drake affects all 3 lanes. You never run out of stats in lane. Oh my god, this 2v2. This was a Yowzar. I'm not sure what TSM was doing, but Smoothie and Zben, like if you look, right, they're just up so far forward on their turret, and Smoothie is burning his shield early, because remember the interaction we talked about. If Smoothie burns shield like this, then he can't shield the Braum ult. So he can't shield the Ornn ult, and because he wasn't able to shield the Ornn ult, the Ornn just ults on top, and they got wiped out bottom. Oh, that was just such a silly mistake for them to be that far up forward and somebody to use the shield like that. Giving up 2 kills to Kai'Sa means bot lane's over. Kai'Sa with kills is not something you ever want to face. Turtle's gonna have a heyday off those 2 kills. They're just very small mechanical mistakes that TSM made, like the Acadian not ulting the Zoe in mid-fight, Smoothie and Sven walking up so far forward and burning shield early. Like, they pick champions where they are able to get early game leads, but they threw all their early game leads. And even like the top gank, where they ganked without knowing where Centurion was. Flyquest was put in a kind of defensive situation earlier on through the draft, and they got through their early game so easily. When it gets to mid game and Zoe gets their items, Kha'Zix gets their item, Kai'Sa gets their items, it's going to be so hard for TSM to actually take on a straight on team fight. Why did Kai'Sa come back into the meta after World showed its weakness? I guess NA doesn't punish it as hard. It's Kai'Sa just specifically versus Israel. I think that's where you'll see Kai'Sa a lot. You can't play Kai'Sa versus Lucian. You can't play Kai'Sa versus other stuff. It's just Israel. People are taking it versus Israel when they want to have a team fight win condition or they have a really proficient Kai'Sa player. And Turtle is like a playmaker that likes playing team fight, that likes playing late game carry, so Turtle fits very well with Kai'Sa. And that's probably why he drafted it. Thank you, Dead Fracture and Sinister Savant for the subs. I have alerts disabled because this can be a YouTube VOD. Yeah, and then as we talked about, Flyquest just has a stronger 2v2 now, and they're able to take turret, they're able to take early dragon. TSM drafted a comp with a lot of proactive tools, and they weren't able to really make use of their proactive tools. And now Flyquest's mid-game activation 2-item power spike comp is really going to come into play. Kai's had 2 items, Pobelter finished his Luden with his boost and stopwatch and blasting wand. This is a really strong point for Pobelter. Even though he's behind on item to the Syndra because he has a stopwatch early, he's not afraid of taking a fight. This is a good fight for Flyquest. Remember what we talked about. Turtle, 2 items. Pobelter, decent items. And also, rest of TSM just down in gold due to what happened early game. Oopsies. This fight is not going to go well for TSM. Or it should not go well for TSM. I'm not going to say it won't, but it should not go well for TSM. This is a good situation for Flyquest to fight. JJ coming in from this angle, Pobelter getting nice bubbles from this angle, Aatrox is going to flank from this angle. They're actually going to be flanked from multiple angles. That's one of the shitty things about Syndra. If you're flanked from multiple angles, it's so incredibly hard to play as Syndra. What TSM has to do is they have to pick a side, probably Turtle side or Pobelter side, and actively engage on them. If they notice that Turtle has stopwatch, they can't, or not Turtle, Pobelter has stopwatch, they can't engage on Pobelter side, they have to engage on JJ Turtle side. Smoothie putting his shield up versus Bromult and engaging on the left side is the best thing TSM can do. Let's see what they do. Bubble missed. They get it. Good chunk on Acadian. Holding ult. Oh, TSM engaging towards the right side, or the left side, which is the right side they need to be engaging on. Bjergsen forced to flash because they're in a bad angle. Turtle's not gonna die. Bjerg doesn't have damage to kill him, and then now Bjerg's gonna die. This is what I mean though. Even though TSM was able to get Herald, the multi-directional collapse from Flyquest was way too much, and then now Turtle picking up additional kills, 3 kills for 1, so 2 kill lead for Flyquest, and TSM gets Herald. It's just not that worth for TSM. The gold is falling onto the wrong targets for TSM, like Turtle getting another kill on top of that and getting stronger and stronger makes it so hard for TSM to actually play out the game. Also, another thing that's really good about Kai'Sa is AD carries actually get shitty defensive items. Guardian Angel is a pretty bad defensive items. So is Hex Drinker and Maw. These are just very bad defensive items. The only good defensive item that AD carries get access to are QSS and Stopwatch. The really good thing about Kai'Sa is Kai'Sa actually doesn't have to build the bad defensive items. If she wants MR, she can go Banshees because she can scale with AP. If she wants armor, she can go Zhonya's. So this game, Zhonya's is actually really nice. It's good versus Urgot, it's good versus Camille, it's good versus Syndra even. So Turtle can buy the good AP defensive items as an AD carry. Ooh, this moment of regression on Flyquest was pretty troll. Because they have no reason to be aggressive there. They rather set up Baron and they want TSM to walk into them. They're giving TSM a little bit of space with that phase check and dying. They should just be baiting Baron much as possible. Because they have a Kha'Zix and they have a Kai'Sa. Their Baron melt is actually so fast. It's a little early in the game to be able to burn Baron, but TSM eventually has to check and they can keep forcing TSM into awkward situation. Or wait for Inferno Drake and just keep controlling Inferno Drake. Well, Flyquest had so much control, but that one phase check, that one play actually gave TSM a lot of space to be able to get Dragon. They need to get out of here though. Can't take the team fights. Ooh, this is gonna be so hard for TSM now. Stopwatch on both carries for Flyquest. They're never gonna be able to win a straight up team fight, no. I don't think TSM will ever outscale Flyquest in being able to win team fights at this point. What they have to do is make good picks with Syndra or Camille. That's the only way they can win. If it's ever full on 5v5s, I don't think TSM can win. And also, they can't even send someone bot lane to split push because who's going to beat the Aatrox one-on-one? Not the Urgot, not the Syndra. So yeah, TSM's left at a position where the only way they can win is through a team fight, but they have a weaker team fight. So the only way they can realistically win is pick someone off from Flyquest and force a 4v5 team fight. How do you force picks? TSM has to walk in, sit on a pink, and wait for Flyquest to check in. But when Flyquest has vision like this, TSM don't have a lot of waves. They need to get vision back. They need to walk. Yeah, TSM was able to get vision back. Now they need to kind of sit in a brush and be able to control. Because Flyquest also has this pink ward in the Baron itself. They're never scared of TSM actually starting Baron. Oh, TSM really need to get rid of that ward and then sit on a brush. Now Flyquest gonna take all the vision away. Oh, this fight actually could have gone well. Let's slow it down a little. Because the fight started on Pope, who has both his thumbs and stopwatch, but they were able to actually get on him pretty easily. So Acadian jumps on Pope. This is not how you do this, by the way, guys. So he stuns Pobelta, right? And then he ults immediately. You can fit in one auto attack before ulting. I guess actually, no. Acadian did it correctly. My bad. Acadian, because I was like, wait, you can fit in one auto attack. Why didn't Acadian do that? It's because Pobelter has stopwatch and he needed to ult him before he stopwatch. What Acadian did is 100% correct. You just stun and ult. Acadian's actually 100% correct here. Pobelter burning stopwatch. Oh, the team should be on Pope. It's been eaten to be on Pope, but Kha'Zix was able to come around and actually kill him, and Broken Blade was too far away. I guess it actually turned out what I thought it would be. Zoe's too hard to kill because she has both thumbs and stopwatch. Even though they got a great pick on Zoe, there wasn't much they could have got out of it. It's the carries having stopwatch makes them so hard to kill. Because stopwatch as an active is just so fucking valuable, and then being able to get it that early on top of completed aggressive items. This team fight, they're waiting for Smoothie to ult. Oh, actually, nope. They're Smoothie to use shield, but JJ already used his ult, so that wouldn't matter too much. Yeah, these fights are fucking brutal. Oh, Turtle with good stopwatch. the fight got a little bit messy, and TSM actually had space to win the fight, and Flyquest carries, and everyone on Flyquest actually burned a lot of flashes now. So for Flyquest, one thing they're doing a really good job of is Zoe and Kai'Sa never dying. They both have around 800, 950 bounty on them, and if they're able to keep the bounty and never die, it's just so good for them. Because Riot designed the game to be really snowbally, but also a lot of rubber band mechanics and bounties. But if you never give the bounties, then the other team can't rubber band back. So it's going to be incredibly important that Turtle and Pobelter play this cleanly and never give up kills or trade 1 for 1. Oh wow, both Turtle and Pope sold their stopwatches. What the fuck? I was like, okay, there's no way they sell. They can just build it into Zanya's, but both of them actually sold their stopwatches after they used it. Interesting. And Turtle also going Hex Drinker. Turtle, you can just go Banshees, and Banshees is much stronger of a defensive item. I would really like to see Turtle go for Banshees, not Hex Drinker. Oh, that's steal. We can play that. We can play that slowly. So what Pobelter did is, look at his burst, guys. Look at the amount of burst that Pobelter can do. So it's from here to here, so that's gonna hit for a fucking chunk. 1,800. At 800, he just smited it away. And also because Pobelter's level 16, he's 3 levels up on Acadian, so his smite's gonna do much more damage. He learned well from Xmithy. It's this combination of Zoe Q from like 2,000 distance away combined with Smite. The damage is way too much. TSM forced a 50-50 Baron there because they have to. They can't let the game go too long. The longer the game goes, the better it is for Flyquest. TSM has to make something happen. Their comp is slowly getting outscaled. Oh, Smoothie wasn't even there to block. But I guess it didn't matter. Yeah, at this point, long as Turtle and Pope play it properly, this game's unwinnable for TSM. NA doesn't do MVPs now, right? MVP per game. I kind of want to do MVP for this game. We'll talk about we'll check Reddit comments after this, and then we'll do MVP for this game. Game's just over at this point. What they're gonna do is it's just formalities. Flyquest is 9k up with a comp that outscales. This is the only time where outscaling is actually a thing, guys. So I hate it when people just talk about, oh, our comp gets outscaled, our team gets outscaled, without actually truly knowing what is outscaling. The only time you get outscaled is if your win condition and enemy win condition is exactly the same, and enemy has a stronger win condition later at the end. So when both Flyquest and TSM, their only win condition is teamfight, right? Their only win conditions are both teamfight, and Flyquest has the stronger team fighting team. So TSM indeed does get outscaled. Oh my god, Turtle actually inted in there. So TSM actually does get outscaled because the only way they can win is team fighting, and only way Flyquest can win is team fighting, and Flyquest is the stronger team fight team. But if TSM has a champion that can split push, then they actually don't get outscaled because it doesn't matter if Flyquest is stronger in a team fight, TSM can always play for the split push. Yeah, the Turtle was a little too overeager to go in there. I don't think he needed to ult directly onto Bjerg, but it's just delaying the game ending a little bit. Ooh, TSM with another Baron play. They're kind of forced to make plays like this. When this, like, because they're forced to make this play, Flyquest just comes in and cleans up the fight. The fight is so disgustingly favored for Flyquest. They have stronger backline, stronger engage. TSM just they need to outplay this in like so many different ways. And yeah, and Viper recognized, oh, I can just go end the game, guys, buy time for me, and that's what Flyquest is doing. Letting Viper end the game and buying time. Alright, we'll check subreddit and then we'll move on to next game. Oh, before doing that, I'll also crown a MVP of the game. Alright. This one was TSM versus Flyquest. One thing I noticed about checking Reddit comments is the Reddit comments are actually near garbage. They don't have any value or substance, and it's just memes. What the fuck? There's nothing from Flyquest. Really? Sea turtle of enormous girth. Do you see what I mean though? Like, this has no value. This has no value whatsoever, and that's the most upvoted comment. And like, new players look at this and they're like, turtle of enormous girth. Oh my god, turtle must have done incredibly well. Yes, turtle did well, but like, StatBot is better than analysts. Okay, more memes. In patch 9.3, Zoe can no longer pick up snipe from her WTSM chat. But yeah, I liked checking Reddit comments because I thought it would be like beneficial, and I can tell you guys, hey, this is what Reddit thinks, but this is what I think. But a lot of Reddit comments are just memes. So yeah, let's stop watching Reddit comments. It actually doesn't help. All right, I will crown an MVP for this game. I actually give the MVP to Pobelter. It was either between Pobelter and Centauran. I think these two are the players that played the best. Why I give it to Pobelter is Pobelter was put in a situation where he's naturally losing lane, and he's placed in a position where he gets pressured a lot, and Pobelter was actually able to pull it out and be a threat and never die. There was one point where I think he should have died if Acadian ulted him, but he didn't get ulted, so he didn't die. A lot of people were probably going to say, why don't you give the MVP to Turtle? Because Turtle, even though he played well, I mean, there were times where he just died randomly, and also his lead was fed onto him. Turtle, as much as he built his own lead, Smoothie and Zben gave the lead. So I would give it to Pope. So someone's saying he picked Zoe into Syndra, so your point is senseless. Why would a player pick a losing matchup purposely? Why would a player pick a losing matchup purposely? A player picked a losing matchup purposely for the comp and for the team, and he was able to kind of handle the burden of picking the losing matchup and still coming out ahead. So Centauran did similar things. I just think it's much harder to play versus Bjergsen than it is versus Acadian, so I'm gonna give it to Pobelter. I think the two people that deserve MVPs are Pobelter and Centauran. If like the official broadcast gave it to Centauran, I would be okay with it. Between Pobelter and Centauran, it doesn't matter too much, but personally, I'm gonna give it to Pobelter. So that's my VOD review of TSM versus Flyquest.